Welcome back. The San Diego Taxpayers Association will oppose the San Diego Unified School District's proposed $2.8 billion proposition bond measure this fall. It's called Prop Z. Lani Lutar, the president and CEO of the association, joins us with more on this. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It seems like school districts from all over are coming at us with these props. Let's talk about San Diego Unified's first Prop Z. Why are you coming out against this thing?
Well, Proposition Z is a $2.8 billion tax increase measure. And it was just 4 years ago in 2008 that the voters approved a $2.1 billion measure, which Taxpayers Association actually supported.
Prop S.
Proposition S, that's correct. But what we know is that they've only spent about 20% of that money, which means that there's $1.7 billion remaining. And we think that the school district ought to fulfill their promises that they made to voters just 4 short years ago before coming back to the taxpayers to ask for another $2.8 billion in tax increases.
Now, the district says they are using it properly, that things are going well with Prop S, and that Z would be for more critical needs. You don't see that?
Well, they say that there are critical repairs and things that need to be done, but here's what we know is that from the 2008 bond measure, the roughly less than $400 million they've spent to date, none of that money has gone into major repair and replacement items. And so if these items are so critical, we would say, why haven't they spent that money on those high priority needs? Because instead, what they've done is they've paid for technology like iPads using high interest financing. What we know is that in 2050, we're still going to be paying off the iPads that students are receiving today. 40 years of high interest financing. So with Proposition S alone, the $2.1 billion bond measure is going to end up costing taxpayers between $10 to $14 billion.
And that's more than was originally projected, right? Almost double more? Or?
Well, they didn't really provide the projections because they don't tell you how much it's going to cost with interest. Right. But what we know is that they took on, much like Poway, those capital appreciation bonds, these are the high interest financing, and that's why it's going to ultimately cost taxpayers so much money. And
you talk about billions all you want, 2.8 billion, 2.1 billion, but people would like to break that down for homeowners about how much is that going to cost them if they approve this measure.
So it's going to be about $60 per 100,000 in assessed value. But what we also need to keep in mind is that that is on top of all of the state tax measures that are coming down the line that people are going to be voting on this November, including a sales tax increase, two personal income tax increases, a business tax increase, and for some people that live in other areas, they might actually have additional community college bond measures or additional tax measures that they're going to be hit by.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those other areas as well, because if you don't live in the San Diego Unified School District, even though you might live in San Diego, say I live in Carmel Valley at San Dieguito School District, you aren't affected by this particular bond measure, but there's bond measures questions all over the place coming up in November.
That's correct. So we know, for example, that some folks in just north of you in Del Mar might actually have 3 school bond measures because there are elementary school district, there might be a high school district, plus a community college district. So for some of the folks that live up in North City, they actually might be hit by 6, 7 tax increase measures all at once in this economy. It's really tough to take that on right now.
It really is. That's overwhelming. But then again, there are needs. So you have to break it down. There are some measures that are out there that you guys are actually in favor of, just not San Diego.
That's correct. We're actually already supporting 4 school bond measures. But with the specific San Diego Unified Proposition $2.8 billion tax increase measure, we're not supporting that one because the school district does not have a strong track record of using taxpayer dollars wisely. We know they've already taken on high interest financing, and there's nothing in this measure that's going to ensure that education performance is going to improve. I have a 2-year-old son that's going to be going into the school district in just a few years, and there's nothing more that I would want than to ensure that my son is going to have a quality education. But Proposition Z is not the solution. It just is going to saddle the very kids that we're educating right now with debt for decades to come.
And on all of that, we have 2 state measures as well that are asking for more taxes for schools.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah. All of that we could talk about the rest of the morning, but we can't. There's a website they can go to find out more from the San Diego County Taxpayers Association.
Absolutely. Our website is sdcta.org, and we have all of the positions we've taken to date on the local and state measures.
All right, Lani, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate it.